Welcome to a special episode of Be Less Stupid. It's one that I am calling the world's best tips for kicking ADD's ass. And look, by the way, I'm not going to tell you how many tips there actually are because, well, if you're a person with ADD, you'll probably think that it's a very large number, in which case you'll probably get a little bit overwhelmed. And then you won't stick around to watch the video. So, here I am in California's Antelope Valley, where the poppies are in bloom. Everywhere I look, I see gorgeous flowers. I saw one in particular right over there. On my way over to see it, I stopped because I saw 3 other ones that were also awesome looking. I also checked out what was going on over there because there was a very hot Instagram model who was taking selfies. Then I saw an anthill. I watched it for like 10 minutes. And as I was down there on the ground, a guy walked by with his very cute dog wearing a bandana. It was a beagle. His name was Indy, as in Indiana Jones, not Indy as in independent films. Anyway, seeing the dog when I was down there, it reminded me to check my Twitter and my Facebook feeds. Oh, and I forgot, by the way. On my way up from the car, some dude passed me on the trail, bumped into me, and I told him to fuck off. Also, my wife called. She's very unhappy with me. She had to take an Uber to work this morning because I was supposed to drive her, but I forgot. And then, just as I was about to start filming, I discovered that the battery on my camera mic was dead. So I had to get back in my car, drive about 15 minutes back into the town to find a gas station that had a little store that sold 9-volt batteries. Oh, and my doctor's office also called too. Turns out I had an appointment over there as well, which I also forgot, along with water and a snack. Hey, you guys got any granola? Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, a lot of my days, all of that confusion, all of those myriad of distractions, forgetting things, yelling at some random dude, impulse control. That is what it is like having ADD. Now, imagine all those same feelings, those same impulses, that scattered brain all the time, every day, everywhere you go, every place where you are. School, work, home, stuck in traffic, at a restaurant, at a funeral, at the movies, when you're talking to your wife, when you're talking to your kids, when you're talking to your friends. Now look, I've had ADD for my entire life, and I gotta say, it's a little bit weird for me to say it out loud. This is the first time that I've ever actually spoken about it on video, and I have only told a few of my friends. Anyway, the point is that I have not let ADD get in my way though. I have figured out, over the last 40 years or so, a whole bunch of ways to kick ADD right in the motherfucking ass. Oh, and one last thing. Because I work in the TV business, I'm going to use as many tricks as I can think of to keep this video as visually entertaining as I possibly can. That way, the people who really need the tips the most won't get bored or impatient and turn off this video and turn on something like with a monkey watching a cat on YouTube. Okay, here it is, tip number 1. There are a lot of decisions that have to get made every single day. But because people with ADD have trouble focusing, I make a bunch of those decisions in advance. Let me give you an example. In the morning, I gotta get dressed, and I haven't taken my meds yet. Not only that, my TV's on, my kids are screaming, the dogs are barking. I'm checking my Twitter to make sure that overnight the president didn't start a nuclear war with North Korea. Even for people who can focus, I suspect that the mornings can be a little bit hard. My guess is if you opened up the drawer in most people's bedrooms, you'd probably find something like 20 different shirts and maybe a dozen different pairs of pants. Now look, I am not good with math, but I think that's like 800,000 different combinations. So that is why years ago I made a choice. I wear a white t-shirt, blue jeans and a baseball hat. That's my uniform. No thinking about it, no obsessing about what matches. Everything is the same. I just open my drawer and I grab a shirt and jeans. That is it. Unless I have to go to a funeral, in which case I also have a button-down white t-shirt. The point is that there are choices or decisions in your life that repeat themselves on a pretty regular basis. What you're going to eat for breakfast, what kind of toothpaste you like, which supermarket in your neighborhood are you going to shop in. Make all of those decisions in advance and then stick to it. Because each time that you focus your energy and your concentration on a choice or a decision, the energy and focus you expend steals a little bit of fuel from your ability to focus and make the next decision. Okay, here it is. Tip number 2. Stop texting people. Seriously, stop texting. Also, stop posting comments on Instagram. Stop tweeting. But mostly, stop texting. Why, you ask? Because texting is meant for brief, succinct communication. That's it. Let me repeat that. Texting is meant for brief, succinct communication. Well, and one other thing, but more on that in a moment. Let me give you an example. There are only 2 things that you should be texting about. Number 1, A, factual information that pertains to your current whereabouts and your arrival time. For example, I'm on my way, or I'm running late. Those are acceptable texts. It doesn't take long to type, and the words aren't unclear or subtle. The only other acceptable text is, what are you wearing? But only if the recipient has consented to receive such texts in writing, in triplicate under oath, and witnessed by Me Too's superstar reporter, Ronan Farrow. You see, here's the problem for people with ADD. We use texting as a substitute for talking on the phone or in person. And even in person, people with ADD miss the portions of communication that are communicated through body language and subtle facial cues. Mike Flynn was down in the Dominican Republic. He makes a phone call to Sergei Kislyak, right, where he talks about removing the sanctions that the Obama administration had put into place. It's because we really can't, and well, don't, focus on those elusive or ephemeral details. Now with texting, you're having a conversation that's once removed from human interaction. So all those subtleties of conversation are even harder to discern or interpret. Not only that, texts fly by in an instant. That's bad for people who have difficulty focusing, because we don't see the words on the screen for very long. They're less likely to resonate or to be fully processed. Plus, words mean different things depending on how you say them. No, you look great, and you look great. Those two have very clearly different meanings. With texting, the nuance of conversation that was hard to follow face to face is made even more difficult when the thing that you're communicating with and through is a machine. Now here's another problem. Remember, people with ADD lack impulse control. It's very easy for a text conversation to go sideways, for you to get annoyed or angry and start firing off more and more heated texts. When you're alone, that sudden rise in your emotion, it goes unchecked. So summing up, stop having discussions over text. Only text to alert people to your location and arrival time, and to find out what they're wearing. Save the conversation for when you are face to face. Let's call this next one tip number 2A. Remember I just said, hey, stay off your phone, don't text. Well, here's another reason. Let me share with you first an example from my own life. I know how to juggle. I'm pretty good. Anyway, one day I'm coming home to practice juggling fire. Meanwhile, my wife and my kids are at the dinosaur museum. I get a text that they've arrived. Then, I get another about every 3 minutes. Look, I'm standing next to a T-Rex. Hey, look, the skull is bigger than me. Then a few minutes after that, it's like, hey, look, it's a velociraptor. Then, like 20 minutes after that, it's like, okay, we're bored. Now we're going shopping for scrunchies at Claire's in the mall. Okay, so you see what happened, right? Kids and wife out, me home. And despite not being there with them, I know everything that happened to them. Then, my wife and my kids get home, and they're all excited to tell me all about the dinosaurs. Only here's the thing, I already know all about the dinosaurs. So, what does a person who is susceptible to boredom and distraction do? Well, at 16, I learned to juggle. Now, as an adult, when I get bored, talking to my wife or my kids or people I work with, I start to zone out. I interrupt with questions or jokes, cut them off, or I start glancing at the alerts on my phone. Not because I'm an antisocial prick, but because what they're saying is not holding my attention. Remember, I'm easily distracted and easily bored, and I prefer novelty. Yes, I get it. For them, it's the first time that they're telling me about the dinosaurs in person. But for me, it's the second time that I'm hearing about it. So, here's a tip. People with ADD tend to prefer novelty. The first time I hear about a thing, well, it's like watching a new movie. The second time, well, it's like a tired old rerun. So, summing up, ask the people in your life to communicate to you in a way that maximizes your interest and limits stumbling over your shortcomings. Okay, so that's the end of the first segment on the tricks and tools that I've developed over nearly 30 years to help me kick ADD right in the ass. Look, there's going to be 4, maybe 5 more videos with 3 or 4 tips each over the next couple of weeks. If you want to make sure that you see them, please subscribe to this channel, Be Less Stupid, and make sure that you hit the little bell button so that you'll be alerted when the new episodes premiere. By the way, you should also check out all of the other great original programs. There's more than 100 episodes of our flagship show, Be Less Stupid, which features, well, liberal politics, science, fact, and funny. In the last year, there have been 5 successful suicides by detainees here at Adelanto. There's also 2 other shows as well. The first is the 6-hour series, This versus That, which is, well, it's a little bit like Mythbusters, except instead of figuring out fantastical things like if ninjas could walk on water, we talk to scientists, experts, and leading professionals from the best labs, hospitals, and universities to find out the answers to questions like, what's the fastest way to board 100 passengers onto a 757? Our third series is called Pizza with Writers. It's a half-hour interview show where I talk to the creators of some of your favorite television shows. There's 13 half-hour episodes as we make pizza in my outdoor wood-fired oven and talk TV, writing, and popular culture. You can see all of these shows for free. Just subscribe to our channel. I think the button's somewhere over here or over here. Hit the little bell button so you'll be notified of new videos. And please, remember to tell your friends about what we're doing. It really helps us grow the channel and makes it possible for me to continue bringing you this content absolutely free. I want to say thanks to everyone for watching, and I will see you next time on Be Less Stupid.